Hello, ladies and gentlemen. As with you always, this is Max doing a live video today on QNT. So I hope everybody's doing great in this great world. We're going to welcome our wonderful community that we have here today. And if anything, please smash that like if you haven't done so already. Let's go ahead and start off with the first comments by welcoming our wonderful community. Let's go ahead and start off with the first comment. It comes from Tim Shea. He says, "Hey, glad to have you here, Tim Shea. MaximusCrypto represent the 589th district of the XRP Army, the crypto commissioner representing his fellow constituents." Boom. All right. Glad to have you here, Mr. Tim Shea. We also got Brittany in the house. She says, "Happy Wednesday. Good to see you, Ms. Brittany." Boom. Right back at you. And we have the one and only Patrick Collier. Says 589th, baby. Yes, Mr. Patrick Collier. Good to see you, man. What up, Big Max and fam? What up? Glad to have you guys here. Again, guys, please smash the like. We're having a few people follow in, obviously. Everybody's saying hello to each other. And we also got Crypto Homes 777. Good to see Mr. Adam Crypto Homes 777. Boom. Glad to have you. All right, we also have the one and only Mr. Boomer Effin Sooner. All the darn glass of your house, right? Breaking in every angle, right? Good to see you, Mr. Boomer Effin Sooner. Hopefully your football season's pleasing you well. I don't know. I have to check how OU is doing, right? Right. I did see that Colorado got their first loss, right? I don't know. Maybe you're thinking they're going to get many more losses. I don't know. I just thought that was interesting because obviously the main news outlets are reporting it, right? Big news in basketball also. Damian Lillard, my favorite player, traded to the Milwaukee Bucks. Hey, you know what? It is what it is, right? New era for Portland. New era for Phoenix. So we'll see what happens. Anyway, we're going to go further down. River's in the house. Good to see River. What you most smiley about, my friend? Something good happened to you? Maybe it did. Maybe it didn't. Maybe you went to the 10-yard line, don't even realize it, right? Maybe you don't want to share that, and that's okay too. Anyway, Boomer Effin Sooner says hello to you, and good to see you. All right, we also got Salamander, the XDC commander. He says, "Hello, everyone. This is Salamander we're looking for. Lionel Richie. Good to see you, Mr. Salamander. If you're new to the show, you're going to hear a lot of Lionel Richies over here once in a while. That's just the way it is, right? Long tradition, okay? And if you don't know, well, now you know, right? All right, we're also going to welcome, is this Mr. Squidward? Yes, it is. Mr. Edward Vincent. Good to see you, Mr. Edward. It's got all the likes. Boom. Glad to have you. And going further down, we got Brian Dowie, Mr. Brian freaking Dowie in the house. The other step bro. Good to see you, man. Good to see you. And going further down, we also got the one and only Will Fix, my longtime friend for over 20 years now. 21 years, actually. Now I think about it. That's right. I am so glad to see you here, Will Fix. And I'm so glad that we were able to reconnect. You know, true story, guys. Will Fix and I originally came together when it came to gaming, right? Let me point to it. This way. Sorry. Gosh dang it. Over this way. It's a mirrored reflection. So at DPG, right? We changed the name a few years ago, right? From Dog Pound Gangsters to literally Dog Pound Gamers. Okay. This is like back in 2016 or something like that. Anyway, he was with me on my journey. So we started our journey together 21 years ago in gaming. And then we reconnected, believe it or not, with crypto. And I asked Will Fix, I said, "How did you find me? Did you type in DPG Maxes for my real name and try to find me that way? And then this is how you found me?" And true story, I was delighted to hear this. He said, "Believe it or not, no. I found you naturally because I'm a crypto enthusiast. You know, I was looking up some XDC and I found your channel." How cool is that? How cool is that? So glad to have Will Fix here, and I appreciate you, man. Glad to have you here, buddy. All right. Please welcome Will Fix if you haven't done so already. And yeah, welcome to our community, obviously. And I saw some good things you've been doing, retweeting, or resharing, I should say. Really appreciate it. All right, we're going to go further down in the comments. We also have Jack Thompson, another Arizona guy. He says, "Shalom and good evening, everyone." Right back at you, Jack. Glad to see you. Glad to have you here tonight. We have quite the treat for you guys. we have an excellent outline with the help of the one and only Quant Papa. Yes, we love it when we call him Quant Papa. And it's really going to validate some things that we already talked about, but expanding on it. Simba Chain. What is that all about? And what about some of these institutional players? And again, to all that, tonight's main topic, even with the JASMY segment, which is later, should be institutional adoption. That's the main key takeaway you want to, leave from here tonight, basically. Going further down into some more comments, we have Corey Bibe. Good evening, everyone. With his, he doesn't have it now, but he's at some point he's going to say scam, right? Good to have Corey Bibe here. Good to see you. We're also going to welcome just a few more of you guys who are filtering on in. Please smash the like. Currently, we're at 18 likes. It does help with the YouTube algorithm if you smash that like. If you're new to the channel, make sure you also hit that bell notification. Make sure you're subscribed, obviously. A weird stat, right? So on the recorded content, it shows about 53% of the main watchers, right, are not subscribed. Why aren't people subscribed? So, again, if you haven't done that, I hope that I can earn your subscription, right? And if you're the type of person who never smashes the like, well, it is what it is, but I'm trying. And we're not, this is not a sponsored channel. It's a community-based channel. We come together and we've been together for, about a year and a half, something like that. So again, hopefully you can earn your subscription and we would appreciate it. Let's welcome a few more of you guys. We have, let's see here. Ahmed is in the house. Best avatar in all of crypto. Ahmed, good to see you, man. Long-time supporter. Always appreciate Mr. Ahmed. We also got Jack Thompson with a comment. That's good, right? Did you hear XLM is now the crypto for the EU? I did see a little bit about it and didn't have time to jump into it fully. Probably tomorrow we'll get more into some of these things, maybe some Storm bond updates, you name it, right? Glad you're paying attention. That is big. Also want to welcome Mr. Magic Power, his classic line of "Hello, guten Tag, Sie Liechtenstein Exchange. JASMY with the Reichsgrab Consortium in the house. Let's go." Yes, thank you very much. And it's okay to say "let's go." It even comes from Hara saying it, so we don't have to be politically correct if even Hara is doing that, right? Yamaha Pacifica, hello, good to have you. Good to have you. Familiar faces. And let's see, Rick Cogswell is also in the house. Good to see Rick. Big up on the real estate. Shout out to Rick. All right, we're going to read a couple more comments. And then we're going to get right into the outline here in a bit because we're approaching about 8 minutes of, going live. Corey Bibe says, MoneyGram to launch non-custodial fiat USDC wallet in partnership with Stellar Network. Yeah, I mean, if anything, I did a piece about that a while back. I guess that was my most retweeted bit of research ever. You would think it'd be Quant, but it was that particular one. Glad you're paying attention to it. Henry Brown's also in the house. What up, Max, fam? Yo. Glad to have you, Mr. Henry Brown. Like you said, shout out to Will Fix. Hey, cool. Glad you guys are welcome, Will Fix, right? Awesome stuff. That's what we're about. We're a great community here. We welcome each other. It's awesome. And let's see here. Leon Defonte. Blah, blah, blah. What a crap channel. Gee, I wonder who could that be? But that's all right. Thank you for helping our YouTube algorithm. Really do appreciate it. We welcome all haters and lovers. So if anything, you're just helping. Thank you for that. God bless you. All right, let's go further down. Dwight Von Schress. Boom. Glad to have you here. And let's see here. Just welcome a couple more people. Fluffy Fluff, the Ben Hammocks. Glad to have you. All right. So what we're going to do is we're going to get to the last comment. I'm going to use it as a bookmark. And yeah. All right. We are going to go ahead and start this outline. It comes from the one and only Quant Papa, who helped out with the research. And let's just jump into it. All right. We have roughly about 25 people, and we got 26 likes. So not too shabby. And nonetheless, really, really glad to have you guys here. All right. So on this particular one, let's see if it works this time. So I'm going to pull up the avatar for it. All right. And if anything, yeah, let's just jump into it. So what we're first going to do is I'm going to collect some notes here. Already have them basically. And you're going to see some familiar faces. All right. So the first one you're going to see is Raoul Paul, right? You guys know who he is and so on. You know, some people call him Raoul. Anyway, listen to what he has to state here. I'm just going to let it speak for itself. We're going to go ahead and pull this up. And again, this is from Quant Papa, who chopped up this little bit. So here it basically is. Let's go ahead and start. Thanks for being here. Please smash that like.
I said, and I think the US government and the UK government invented it, which is the NSA and the GCHQ in the UK, who are the two world centers of cryptography. Because even how the white paper is written, it's
you think
this
they're
transatlantic.
Satoshi?
Yes. I always have. And I asked the Department of Defense, they said, yeah, we've considered that too. That they seeded
it was
experiments.
Official, or it was just people from that went rogue?
I don't think it's necessarily a rogueness. I think like Google have like Google X, where they do tons of experiments, right? They know that one of the esoteric risks for the entire Western system is the issue with money. So there's probably groups of people who are given things to try. And if you can seed a new system, maybe they tried 100 of these and just one succeeded. We don't know. But it would make sense because that's what they do, this kind of stuff.
I want you to think about that for a moment, all right? So there's been a lot of debate about some of this stuff. I mean, we pulled up some articles in the past, not just myself. I mean, there's people like Crypto Hulk, right? You know, X.com since late 90s, right? That's literally, what, 10 years before, was it 1999? 10 years before the Bitcoin white paper, right? So these references, the UK, some people say the UK has always led the charge. When you look more into it, it's always the UK. Following this up, I want you to see this as well. And again, from Quant Papa, this is the next video clip that we're going to pull up. I mean, it's going to have a nice outline to tie all this in. This is Gilbert Verdian. Check this out.
Around 2008, I was working as a CTO in the UK government in the Treasury. So the Treasury runs all the economy in the UK. And I was at a government conference, and I got up and spoke, and I said, has anyone here seen or heard about Bitcoin? And no one knew anything about it. There wasn't a single person from any department, including the intelligence guys, law enforcement, all the other departments. No one knew anything.
Except you.
So I except me. So I'm one of those, techie guys that constantly keeps up to date with the latest things that are happening. Mm-hmm. So funny story. I spoke, and then at the tea break, the intelligence guys, which is kind of they're called GCHQ, which is the equivalent of the NSA. So they had a chat to me. They said, "What is this thing?" And I educated them, and they went off and did their research. And then I went back to work and spoke to my peers in the department, and I got the Treasury to do a policy assessment on blockchain. Which included Bitcoin. And they looked at it, and as a government, we looked at it and said, this is a toy thing. It will never have any material impact to the UK's economy. Wow. And that was 2008. So
that's incredible.
And that was correct at the time. So, yeah.
Sure. And obviously now we're seeing a very different landscape.
All right, so see a different landscape. He gave you all that little background. He obviously has done this numerous times, right? Now, getting more into this, I want to share some things with you. And of course, a lot of this comes from Discord with the chopped up research and so on, but it's a good outline. I want to just simply get into it. So I'm going to pull this from some of the notes. And basically speaking, when we get more into this, we're going to start off with a new report that was from the Quant Network. For one, this is good. It was just posted, I think, yesterday. Yeah, what's today? The 27th? Yep, posted yesterday. Check this out for yourself. Let's go ahead and share this. And it is in regards to the Quant Smart Audit. Now, you may be wondering, how are we tying all this in? We're going to get to that. So again, this was posted yesterday, but we're talking about supply and demand and how the UK is literally leading the charge, right? Absolutely leading the charge. If you haven't done so already, please smash that like. This is worth paying attention to, even if you're not a quant holder. Okay. So for one, like it says, Quant Smart Audit protects enterprises. And again, remember some of these things in regards to the terminology. The enterprises against the $4 billion threat of smart contract hacks, who's posted by Andrew Carrier. Now, what is tagged here is enterprises, financial institutions, and of course, partners and so on. I am going to read a lot of this verbatim because it's good. And if anything, there's really nothing to skip over on this particular one. You have this guy who is Dr. Luke Riley, who's the head of innovation. He states, we've developed a suite of testing tools and bolster the specialist knowledge required to audit smart contracts to the highest standards. Now, here at Maximus Crypto, we do report consistently when it comes to smart contract platforms. One that we're following very closely is Sorbonne through Stellar. But this is Quant that we're talking about here. Getting into this, it says they, of course, launched this new service for financial institutions, payment firms, and other enterprises that are struggling to protect just that, their smart contracts. I want you to think about this for a moment, because if anything, if you have a solution that answers a problem, right, an ongoing problem, if anything, that creates that much more supply and demand. Think about this, right? This is another great update when it comes to Quant. So, yes, to protect their smart contracts and decentralized applications, of course, from vulnerabilities. You know, about, I would say, close to a year now, I did that whole big long piece on QRC 721, right? And that is, of course, a secure smart contract in regards to NFTs and whatnot. But what about some of these other things, right? The vulnerabilities of these different networks and so on. Could Quant very well have the answer? Well, I don't think it's a could. I think they do. We go into this. It says, you know, protecting all this in regards to migrating from one area and, you know, in cloud infrastructure to other applications on a DLT, right? Or multiple DLTs. Now, this is the introduction of Quant Smart Audit. This is very well worth paying attention to, because again, if you don't hold QNT, you can get a broader sense of how this applies to so many different things that you're even invested into, right? Obviously, Stellar, other ones, and so on. It says it's basically the first of a suite of enterprise security solutions, as in Quant Smart Audit, for blockchain, known as Quant Protect. This is basically a smart contract auditing service designed to provide enterprises with what? The security levels they expect in order to execute their blockchain strategies, delivered by the same experts who powered, of course, yeah, you saw that right, Project Rosalind. So there's one thing to see this whole report about Project Rosalind, and we saw the whole thing tied to, you know, Bank of England, Bank of International Settlements, and so on. But now we're taking another step forward, if you will, or expanding on this whole thing with Project Rosalind that people may not have ever been aware of. So, yeah, Project Rosalind, Retail Central Bank Digital Currency Project. We already know about that. Now, in regards to a little bit more about this, it goes on to state that although blockchains themselves are highly secure smart contracts, the programs that run on the blockchain and govern the protocol, such as cross-chain bridges, can be, of course, exploited by malicious actors if not properly and tested thoroughly. Now, of course, shout out to Stellar. They're doing it big when it comes to this testnet with Sorbonne. But let's face it, even with the greatest blockchain projects, and Stellar is a great one, right? Stand out, part of my top 5, literally my number 2. There could always be vulnerabilities upon testnet going into mainnet. And to give it a good, solid blockchain project like Stellar or some of these other ones, a heightened sense of security, wouldn't you want to have a platform such as a Quant Audit to do some things? Now, in reality, it sounds good on paper, but what is this all about, right? So there's some stats in regards to all this, and it's worth mentioning. It says, according to blockchain data platform Chain Analysis, 2022 was the biggest year ever for hacking. I would totally agree with that. I mean, we saw things in regards to even Nexera, one of the projects that we cover here, right? formerly known as ALBT. Then they changed the token to Nexera. There were some other ones that we saw a while back, right? Even through what, Solana's, was it Bonk DAO, right? Things like that. So it constantly happens. So in 2022, 3.8 billion, with a B, was stolen. Chain Analysis writes, quote, DeFi protocols as victims announced, or counted, I should say, for 82.1% of all cryptocurrency stolen by hackers. That's a huge, huge number. A total of 3.1 billion, up from 73.3% in 2021. And of that 3.1 billion, 64% came from cross-chain bridge protocols. That in itself, do you have something that's going to answer these problems? Well, introducing this whole thing of quant audit. Now, in regards to these bridges, like it says, it tracks the target for hackers because the smart contracts, in effect, become huge centralized repositories. And I've had, experience with repositories. I used to host one on the DPG server box a few years ago for our mod NW4MP. But in regards to this, repositories of funds backing the assets that have been bridged to the new chain, a more desirable honeypot could scarcely be imagined. Now, this is where quant comes involved, right? We all want this answer. So check this out. This new service makes it simple for enterprises writing smart contracts to have them independently assessed to the highest standards. As we know, quant is all about standards. Literally, you have Gilbert Verdian, who wrote the ISO TC 307 standard back in 2015 and realized in 2016. It goes to state that this is going to remedy and mitigate any security threats and vulnerabilities. Plain as day, right? That sounds pretty crisp, pretty clear, but how so? Well, if you've been paying attention to quant, there's Martin Hargreaves, and he is, of course, their CPO. And he states in this quote, given the risk level posed by substandard smart contracts, it has become industry best practice for anyone issuing them to have them first audited by a third party. What makes our service, as in the quant network, different is that their focus is on finance and their heritage in cybersecurity. Hence, Martin Hargreaves, hence, obviously, Gilbert Verdian, and some of the other guys that have had a long background in regards to cybersecurity. The quant team understands the intricacies of this highly regulated sector and combines the necessary technical business and legal knowledge, right? The due diligence. Luke Riley, the guy that you saw on this particular page right here, is referenced here. And like it says, over the last few years, according to this quote from him, in order to write smart contracts while working on large-scale infrastructure projects like LaxChain, and we've done a few deep dives on that, and Project Rosalind, we've developed a suite of testing tools and bolstered the specialist knowledge required to audit smart contracts to the highest standards. That's now available to any quant customer via Smart Audit. So, even if you're a person that is new to utility-based cryptocurrencies and so on, and you've only heard about the likes of, CertiK, this takes the concept of CertiK and puts it on steroids. Absolutely. We know what Quant's Overledger can do. This whole concept of Quant's audit is an absolute game changer and creates that much more supply and demand for Quant or QNT. Now, jumping into a little bit more what we have, because we're going to do this, I want to put a focus on this thing in regards to basically one that you heard of in the past, and it's a multi-chain evolution smart contract with Simba Chain. And I'm going to show you that from the Quant site here in a bit. It's going to pull this up in regards to what we have. Here it is. And this, of course, dates back to December 11th, 2019. And there's going to be some people who say, well, this, they don't really use Quant. And I could say, basically, from the research I gathered, I'm going to go with that they do. It screams Quant all the way. Now, of course, this is referenced from back then. But again, we're talking about the concept of smart contracts. And let's point out why this is so significant. So for one, this marked the multi-chain evolution for smart contracts. And it gives you an idea of where we were then and where we are now, and why this you want to pay attention to again. So for one, what's tagged here: enterprises, financial institutions, and their partners. It goes on to mention that Quant Network, Simba Chain, both leading innovators in blockchain technology, make the deployment of smart contracts, to make it more easy, cost effective, right? We know about some of this stuff. But what's referenced immediately when you get more into it is government agencies, Fortune 500 companies, and so on, and startups that are increasingly looking to blockchains as the basis for transparent, verifiable systems. You get the gist. Going more down into this, it talks about back in 2017. I know it seems crazy. Simba Chain Smart Contract as a Service removed the first of these issues. They allowed to define assets and parameters, so on and so forth. But what stands out with them is APIs, and what also stands out with them is this partnership that they had with the Quant Network. Now, the result of the combination of their two techs, if you will, through this partnership with Simba Chain Quant, allowed for individuals or businesses interested in using any supported blockchain on the Quant Overledger to just do that, deploy their solutions in a matter of minutes, right? In a matter in absolute minutes, simplifying complexities of smart contracts and so on. Let that resonate in your head. Let's take you over to this. And that basically is this right here. This is from a Venmo site, but it's going to talk about Simba blocks. Simple, scalable, fast, and we'll tie all this in just a moment. Please smash that like. Check this out for yourself. I'm telling you, this is something you don't want to dismiss. And we're going to get back into some other things, even with BlackRock in the whole mix. Sounds crazy? Check this out for yourself. Here we go.
Blockchain technology has immense potential, leading the transition from Web 2 to Web 3. But, as with any new technology, moving from testing to production can be complex and costly. This barrier to entry prevents innovative companies from experimenting with blockchain-based solutions, resulting in missed opportunities. That's where Simba comes in. As the interface between Web 2 and Web 3, Simba helps integrate your development team with a decentralized ecosystem. Simba Blocks is at the core of this streamlined experience. The user-friendly, cloud-based platform makes building Web3 solutions simple and cost-effective. On the front end, Simba Blocks is a low-configuration platform that allows you to build and deploy smart contracts on public, private, and hybrid chains. These smart contracts can have various wallet and identity settings on the chain of your choice. Behind the scenes, Simba Blocks dynamically creates virtual REST APIs that connect to smart contracts on multiple protocols. These chain-agnostic APIs simplify application integrations, reducing deployment times by weeks or months. These benefits can save enterprises up to $1.3 million in upfront expenses. In addition to protocol flexibility, Simba's Web3 plugins offer continuous integration (CI) and continuous delivery (CD) support. With this functionality, recently changed smart contracts are automatically compiled and exported to Simba Chain, streamlining development. Simba Blocks gets you started faster, saving around 228 upfront developer weeks, plus the associated overhead. To summarize, Simba Blocks is an enterprise-grade platform that delivers high availability, full chain freedom, and development acceleration tooling, all while integrating the power of dynamic APIs to simplify Web3 development. Blocks also supports a proprietary querying tool we call structured data. Let's break down these key benefits in more detail. First, Blocks is government and enterprise proven, delivering speed, flexibility, scalability, and cost-effectiveness. Second, Blocks delivers high availability by auto-scaling in response to your software throughput requirements, so there is never any network failure and every transaction will hit the chain. Third, Blocks allows you to choose between multiple supported blockchain protocols. If your needs change, it's easy to migrate to another chain. Fourth, the Blocks platform prioritizes the developer experience, offering a robust suite of tools that streamline the path to production, eliminating up to a year's worth of work with 5 blockchain experts. Fifth, Blocks auto-generate virtual REST APIs that connect to smart contracts on multiple protocols. Finally, Simba's unique structured data approach annotates smart contracts at design, generating powerful business intelligence insights. Specifically, Simba Blocks indexes blockchain data, supporting lightning-fast searches and event-driven architecture. These features combined make Web3 development look more like Web2 while leveraging the benefits of blockchain. You can rest assured that when building with blocks, you'll move from proof of concept to production and stay there. We've simplified the Web3 experience by abstracting the complexities of blockchain development to provide organizations, governments, and companies with off-the-shelf blockchain applications. Instead of hiring an internal team of Web3 engineers, system architects, and DevOps experts, you can tap into the power of Simba Blocks today. Not only can you save up to $1.3 million in upfront costs and $250,000 in recurring annual expenses, but you'll gain access to an award-winning team of Web3 experts. Get started on your Web3 journey today with Simba Blocks, your gateway to simple, scalable, and fast blockchain development.
Okay, so basically speaking, that absolutely screams Overledger, right? Being able to switch from Polygon, some of these other ones, ETH, you name it, right? If you look more into quant, a lot of you guys have, that screams Overledger from beginning to end. Let's get into a little bit more about this. So I want to share some of this real quick. There's some, slide pictures when you want to refer to it as. As you can see right here, and I know I'm not in the frame, but dynamic APIs, Blocks auto generates virtual REST APIs that connect to smart contracts on multiple protocols. Yeah, no kidding. On top of that, how about this? A little bit more from Simba. Dynamic APIs. How so, right? Well, basically speaking, these blocks from Simba leverages Swagger. That sounds kind of confident, don't it? UI to auto-generate virtual REST APIs that connect to smart contracts on multiple protocols. So one of the key things I want you to take away from this is you saw this from the past, may not have even been aware of Simba. I mean, I know Tokenizer is and some other people and so on. But the key thing is we were able to accomplish all this. You've seen it through interoperability, through Quants Overledger, you name it. But what about being able to do the same concept of what you literally seen before, but with a smart audit for smart contracts? Now, of course, there's a little bit more. Let's talk about this for a second. So again, with Simba, developers don't need to compile implementation logic like API calls, error codes, expected responses, or intended payloads. Instead, Blocks fills out this information automatically, enabling cut and paste functionality, simplifies application integrations, and reduces deployment times by weeks and months. You know how many times Gilbert Verdian talked about eliminating some of these timeframes? I'm just saying. Going more into this, check out this. And again, let's talk about the government side of things because we did reference this earlier. Department of Defense case study. Simba Chain will design and build a blockchain solution to enable demand sensing for Department of Defense, basically, right? Getting more into this. Look at this. Speaking of like the government and military and so on. Boeing, the United States Navy, the U.S. Army, the new United States Space Force. Apparently that's headquartered up in Colorado. One of my former coworkers actually is part of Space Force, ironically. And of course, the United States Air Force. And we do know that, of course, Quant back in, 2018 or 2019, give or take, right? Don't quote me. You still have that Constellation DAG partnership. Some people will say, well, we haven't heard anything from them. It's still a valid partnership. Look more into it. Getting more into this. Speaking of the United States Department of Defense, hopefully you guys can see that. This is good stuff. I'll come out of the frame on this one for a bit. So look what's mentioned here. Simba Chain will do what? Design and build a blockchain solution to enable demand sensing for the Defense Logistics Agency, DLA, the Combat Support and Supply Chain Agency of the Department of Defense. You do see the Air Force reference here. Built on Simba Blocks, the United States Air Force Base Camp allows platform, follows the registration tracking of additive manufacturing, which is called AM components during their complete life cycle. Tad bit more. We're going to jump into the this video right here. I won't come out of the frame because it's a video. But it says, basically speaking, build the future for the automotive industry. This is something we talk about even with JASMY, right? Smash that like, take a look into this. And if you don't hold QNT, you might want to look more into it. And we'll get into more of that here in a bit. Not financial advice, but it's definitely worth paying attention to. Here we go.
Are you one of the many companies building blockchain applications in the automotive industry? Perhaps you've thought about it, but aren't sure where to start. No matter where you are on your Web3 journey, SymbaChain can help. Our powerful SymbaBlocks platform abstracts the complexities of blockchain development, helping you build the business solution you want. In other words, Symba allows your team to focus on what matters most, ensuring you move from proof of concept to production. We deliver this functionality using dynamic APIs that connect smart contracts with multiple protocols. This flexibility allows you to build public, private, or hybrid blockchain applications that scale. And don't worry, if your needs change, you can easily mitigate to another chain of your choice. This full chain freedom is delivered alongside enterprise-grade security features and developer tooling that streamline the integration of existing data systems. But don't take our word for it. As a production-grade platform, SymbaBlocks is already used by major government organizations and blockchain companies. Simply put, we understand what it takes to overcome the challenges of building with blockchain. Contact us today to learn how you can start building better with SymbaChain.
Okay, so how do we tie in more of this stuff? We are, right? It's good to know about some of these things, especially SymbaChain. Getting more into this, here is the next part, and it is in regards to a reference all the way back on Reddit. Here it is. And yeah, look at this for a second. Quant partner SymbaChain awarded a 20-year contract to provide blockchain services to all, yeah, that's right, federal agencies. 20-year contract. You know, how many times do we talk about quant and what they're tied into? You know, last time I think we did a big deep dive. We talked about, you know, Amazon. We talked about BlackRock, right? You know, tokenizing these assets. What one would they be choosing? Well, if they're going to tokenize, you know, institutional tokenized assets, you need to have something that they're going to have confidence in, that's going to be secure, fast, and easy to do. You know, we talked about this. So yes, 20-year contract to provide blockchain services to all federal agencies is a big deal. Excuse me. All right, getting more into this, I want to share this with you. And going further down, it talks about this. Yeah, like a lot of people are not aware, SymbaChain has integrated to Overledger since 2020. Yeah, no kidding, right? No kidding at all. Getting more into this right now, I'll show you what I'm talking about. And, you know, maybe you want some proof. I don't know. Sometimes people just need a blast from the past. This actually did come. This is not, yeah, Quant Network, believe it or not. Sorry about that. So it says SymbaChain and Overledger integration is live. Start writing smart contracts today. Interesting. When we get into this, to me, this screams quant, because basically the way I look at it, it is. Look at the app address, app.symbachain.com. Wallet is Ethereum. Look what's mentioned. Be able to quickly, you know, go from quant mainnet to the use of some of these tokens. And what about what I talked about earlier? What about what I literally talked about earlier? Do you not see what's on this list? Right? Forget it. ETH, garbage, slow, right? At least I think so. A lot of you guys feel so as well. I think, I don't know, Ethereum. I mean, should we look at it like it's the AOL Time Warner of the past? It's like a dial-up, you know, dial-up for blockchain. I mean, that's a weird analogy, but are we too far off? But look what's shown here. We was just talking about Stellar. You see that. So are we too far off on some of this stuff? And if anything, what's the main point for you as a QNT holder or somebody that's not a QNT holder? The thing is, being able to have a platform that not only executes these smart contracts with ease, but also provides this new thing, literally released yesterday, in regards to smart contract secure audits. That's game changer. I don't care what anybody says. It's absolute game changer. We know it's game changer because we understand utility in motion, and then a concept of multiple blockchains that have to basically utilize your utility, as in QNT, to get the job done. Right? Some won't, but a lot will. The real true blue chips, I believe, will. And that is definitely worth paying attention to. And even if it's not necessarily, token based, what about some of the other things, even just mentioned from, Simba? That's big in itself. So it's both industries. When I think of both industries, I immediately think of what? Like your JP Morgans of the world. And that's without slipping out too much information. Okay? JP Morgans of the world. Why is that? Well, we've seen in the past, and even recently, JP Morgan in regards to Quorum. No, I'm not talking about Quorum. So we know that this thing, as in Quant's Overledger, is more than capable of handling so many things that just don't have a public release, as in retail money, right? Check out a little bit more about this. This is good stuff. So I want to take you to this right here. This comes from CoinDesk. We do reference them quite a bit. And what's big about this is blockchain company Simba Chain received, listen to this, $30 million funding increase from U.S. Air Force. When did this happen? Well, can you give me something, Max, that was a little bit more towards this year? Yeah, absolutely. The United States Air Force granted Simba Chain the increase as part of its aims to, or I should say of, quote, identifying and advancing technologies that have the potential to secure its dominance. Yeah, its dominance. Excuse me. Gotta make sure I'm not muted. Anyway, yes, we still want to dominate and so on, right? So again, I'm thinking of like people talking to each other, back in the day, Gilbert Verdian and Quant Network, the whole thing with Constellation DAG, key solid partnership, still is. But the key thing is understanding that if DAG has, for instance, that Air Force connection, and they do, we can see how this all comes together. People talk behind the scenes. It's what people do. Getting more into this, it states basically Indiana-based blockchain firm Simba Chain, which has worked with the United States military on various projects in recent years, has received, of course, that $30 million in the funding. The United States Air Force granted them the $30 million. And basically, let's see, it says identifying and advancing technologies as part of their aim that have potential to secure its future dominance. Getting more into this, Simba Chain received $1.5 million from the United States Air Force, of course, back in 2020, to research and develop a blockchain for supply chain logistics in the United States Air Force. The following year, it received another $1.5 million to work on something similar for the United States Navy. So even breaking into the Navy. But again, understanding that key partnership with Simba Chain. Simba Chain literally screams quant all the way. I mean, you could look more into it for yourself when we talk about being able to quickly switch from Stellar to ETH to Polygon, you name it. That screams quant all the way. The concepts of blockchain agnostic doesn't say that. It reworded a different way, but meant the same thing. Getting more into this, it states that the $30 million of Strat Phi therefore demonstrates a substantial increase in the investment into Simba Chain, possibly reflecting the growing potential the United States military sees in blockchain tech to secure supply chains for weaponry and other equipment. So there's a lot about this, obviously, right? And on the notes, one thing I want to share with you is this right here. A little bit more in regards to the Simba Chain. This is my own notes, so you don't see the screen. Quant, of course, formed that partnership with Simba Chain. Of course, we know it's a company, but it's funded by who? DARPA. Now, if you've taken the deep dives, who is DARPA? Well, basically, listen to this. This is juicy. They are a secret research project wing of the Pentagon. Are you kidding me? Like, for real? For real. Look into it more. Which is significant for the future of quant. So quant is so much more than we thought, right? So much more than we. The United States military, in particular, the United States Space Force and other government entities have partnered with Simba Chain, a company that uses blockchain tech and distributed ledger technologies for doing what? Listen to this, tokenizing space debris. I know this sounds absolutely nutty in some ways, but it's a thing. And fostering active debris removal programs. Hence why they got this whole thing with the United States Space Force. I mean, I guess to a sense, I mean, nothing to knock on the Space Force, but they got to be doing something, right? Anyway, no disrespect. Quant Network was incubated at the University of Notre Dame and received seed funding from who? DARPA. Check out that connection. That's crazy stuff, right? All right. Here's something I want to show you. All right. This comes from Forbes, and we will be referencing Forbes quite a bit. We even had that little XRP segment towards the end, because yes, we did say a thing about how, what was it? Let me see. I'm gonna pull this up. 59,472 XRP that was printed off of Forbes, and then they swiftly took it down. No pun intended to Swift. Crazy stuff. But basically speaking, I want to take you to this. I think you guys got the screen up here. This is good stuff. So it says right here, and again, this is from Gilbert Verdian. This is from Forbes Digital Assets referencing Gilbert Verdian. Look at this quote from Verdian. All right. Or actually before it, because remember how we always talk about Japan? So consistently talk about DFFT, especially with JASMY and whatnot. It says Japan revised its laws regarding crypto in the Foreign Exchange Act and the Act of Prevention of Transfer of Criminal Proceeds. The changes were made in an effort to stop criminals from using crypto exchanges to launder money. The amendment will require exchanges to disclose customer names and addresses when making transfers and enforcing penalties for a failure to do so. If you guys remember the Stellar update we gave, it talked about how the money would come in, but if a person want to do more with that, right, they have to do proper KYC, otherwise it gets flagged as potential criminal activity. But what about having an audit service that's going to also just kind of cross the T's and dot the I's, right? From Gilbert Verdian, quoted, "We are in the middle of the transformation of money, and this is only going to happen every 30 to 40 years, where the financial system has the opportunity to evolve for something that's fit for purpose for the next 30 to 40 years. Having intelligence built into digital assets, into traditional assets, securities." Remember this part, securities, because I am going to reference again Larry Fink of BlackRock, and also Verdian states money. Really, it's just really transformational. Yeah, transformational. But again, remember the part about securities. If you're paying attention to this, check this out. Getting more into this. So this part right here, having worked for the UK's former chancellor, again, from a little bit more of that from, Forbes, okay? Having worked for the UK's former chancellor, George Osborne, to safeguard the Treasury's billions after the global financial crisis, Gilbert Verdian's, reputation as a cybersecurity expert, remember we talked about cybersecurity earlier, earned him the support to set up his own business, which was the Quant Network. Were you ever aware of that? UK's former chancellor? So, I mean, Quant is literally the chosen one from the point of being a former chancellor to, oh my gosh, the Bank of International Settlements, the Bank of England. Is Rob Paul too far off with some of those statements that he said at the beginning of his outline? I'm just saying. Look more into it. From here, he developed Quant's Overledger. a tech platform designed to aid, of course, mass adoption. That's crazy, of blockchains, mass adoption of blockchains. Sometimes you guys just never seen some of this stuff. We talk about it. Then you see something literally printed from Forbes, and I don't dismiss Forbes. I mean, shoot, Forbes been around. I don't know, man. I think I've known about Forbes since the 90s. I remember my grandparents talking about Forbes, right? I was just a kid. I knew about Forbes. And then growing up as a kid, CEO Steve Forbes, rich guy, billionaire, right? I don't take what's mentioned on Forbes lightly, okay? But this whole concept of what we've been talking about of quants over ledger being able to do some big things in regards to mass adoption, and then literally see it right from what? Forbes, right? So, yeah, this whole thing of mass adoption, developing this, right, to be tamper-proof security for businesses by solving the problem of how to interconnect their disparate networks, or like it also says, to make tamper-proof security. Again, fast forward to yesterday's big news. The world of business currently uses isolated proprietary technology. The issue being that various networks generally do not connect, interact on technical or regulatory levels. Think about it. What have we been talking about for the longest time? Do you guys have, or is there a platform that is going to get it when it comes to regulatory compliance? Yeah, quant all the way. Why? All the ties to, the UK ministry and you name it. I mean, look at the grocery list here. So it states that, the world business currently is an esoteric proprietary technology. Excuse me, I'm reading this again. The issue being that various networks generally do not connect, interact on technical or regulatory levels. Launched 18 months ago, it makes the secure realm of blockchain a technology that Veridian helped standardize. Now, of course, this wasn't 18 minutes ago. This is 18 months ago. But the key thing is what's referenced here. Because standardize, which he did with ISO TC 307, and making it accessible to the wider business world, right? Which was previously impossible, right? Or if anything, cost too much to be realistic. All right, now it's time to get into some crazy stuff. This part you might want to pay real close attention to. If you haven't been following at all and you're not a quant holder, that's okay. Pay attention to this. It says artificial intelligence. What is BlackRock's Aladdin? Will BRICS de-dollarize the world? I'm not going to play this whole thing because this thing is an hour and 25 minutes, but I will play roughly, I think, close to 2 minutes. And we're going to tie this into the whole thing of BlackRock, and it's going to make some sense. And it's going to make some crazy sense. So try to remember everything was on the outline, but pay attention to this 1.5-minute thing. If anything, you might find it incredibly interesting. How long ago was this posted? It was posted on April 9th, 2023. Please smash that like if you haven't done so already. You want to pay attention to this part. Believe me, you do. Here we go.
There's one AI that has a monopoly on Wall Street, is now more powerful than politics, and is buying up every asset in the world at a faster rate than ever before.
All right, James, today's show is going to be epic. We're going to be talking about the introduction of the new BRICS currency: Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa. We're going to be talking about the worldwide de-dollarization. We're going to be talking about Aladdin, which is the AI technology created by BlackRock that seems to be buying up the Earth's assets. We're going to talk about a lot of topics, and I'll tell you, if you're going to watch today's show, you're going to need some encouragement at the end, okay? And you might need some more cowbell to get through. So without any further ado, here's today's edition of the Thrive Time Show on your radio and podcast download.
I'll be honest, fellas, it was sounding great, but I could have used a little more cowbell.
With artificial intelligence, we are summoning the demon. You know all those stories where there's the guy with the pentagram and the holy water, and he's like, yeah, you sure you can control the demon? Didn't work out.
The future will be shaped by new technologies that we are developing, especially artificial intelligence and biotechnology, which are giving us really divine powers of creation and destruction.
Meet Aladdin. Aladdin is actually a network composed of 5,000 supercomputers that now manages a whopping $21 trillion in assets, which is more than the GDP of every country on Earth except the US and China, and it does so with very little human intervention. What's even more alarming is Aladdin now tracks everything in our lives, from what we buy to what we eat, and even our bank transactions, and yet most of us don't even know it exists. Most importantly, I believe Aladdin may be the secret weapon the elite few are using to control more of our lives every day, leaving us with less money, property, and freedom.
The nature of money is going to change quite dramatically. The old systems of trust and of ownership will have to adapt radically.
Welcome back to Pulse Games. I'm Taylor. Make sure to stick around until the end where I get into solutions and how I believe we can all start to protect ourselves from Aladdin. Also, remember.
All right. Let me pause that real quick. All right. So, Aladdin. Why am I tying this to all this? Again, I'm going to get into this. And again, it's going to round off the outline in a beautiful way. All right. So, let's take you to this other thing. It's a follow-up. I've gone ahead and fast forwarded to this part. So remember how she mentions, or at least in this outline, other people, talk about Aladdin, $21 trillion of assets being managed, okay? Being managed. Now, this next part is going to talk about, for instance, the 9.5 trillion portfolio, which is a lot higher now. You got to keep in mind their assets that BlackRock has they've gained a lot more assets substantially since this video was made. But at the time, it talks about the $9.5 trillion shadow bank of BlackRock. Smash the like, not necessarily for BlackRock, but if you appreciate the content, again, we're going to tie in all this here in a bit. Here we go. Oops, sorry about that. Let me just rewind this a bit. I have it on the right screen. Let's try to share that again. All right. Yeah, let's go ahead and share this. There we go. Should show up now. Yep, it shows up now. Let's go ahead and play this.
Where in the world does BlackRock store $9.5 trillion? Well, given the sheer amount of money they're managing, their investment opportunities are quite limited. So it's basically just stocks, bonds, and cash. But despite that, I think it's pretty interesting to delve into the details, given the raw amount of money BlackRock holds in each of these assets. And fortunately for us, BlackRock is a public company, so they're forced to disclose all of their holdings. Taking a look at their latest financial report, BlackRock holds all of their money in 6 different categories. The first category is equities, which is basically just stocks. BlackRock has $5 trillion or 52% of their portfolio in equities. This includes over 1 billion shares of Apple, or $154 billion worth of Apple stock, 27 million shares of Amazon, or $91 billion worth of Amazon stock, and tens of billions of dollars worth of basically every single stock on the market. If you're interested in the 5,267 stocks in their portfolio, you can go to this website and look through everything. But wait a minute, isn't BlackRock supposed to be risk adverse? How is holding 52% in equities a safe move? Well, the thing to keep in mind is that most of BlackRock's exposure to equities is through various index funds and ETFs, so it doesn't matter to them whether these stocks go up or down. For instance, let's say you buy into the iShares S&P 500 fund. BlackRock's job is to simply split your money across the 500 companies in the S&P 500. The performance of the stocks themselves are irrelevant, and it's not their responsibility. Moving on, their next category is fixed income assets, which include bonds, money market funds, CDs, and assets along those lines. This is arguably the crown jewel of BlackRock, and they have $2.7 trillion or 29% in this category. The last 4 categories are really just miscellaneous categories for BlackRock, and they include multi-asset, alternatives, cash management, and advisory. Fun fact, BlackRock has $20 billion in the advisory category, but that's such a small amount compared to their total assets that they don't even report it as a percentage. And that's the height at which BlackRock is at today. Have you guys ever heard of BlackRock? Comment that down below. Also, drop a like if you think every bank should make risk management the top priority. And of course, consider joining our Discord community.
All right, so I was using that last part as an example. And if anything, like, that's big, So I have a little bit more to share in that regard. And I'm going to pull up just a tad bit more of what we have for we can share it with you guys. And let me just see where this is at real quick. All right, so basically speaking, here we go. And this is going to be towards the end now of this segment. Here we go. This is really something else. So what is this whole thing with BlackRock's Aladdin? You may be asking. Here it is. I'm going to pull up the right tab. Sorry about that. Yeah, there we go. So look at this. Aladdin is BlackRock's portfolio management software controlling, and yeah, that's crazy, right? 21.6 trillion in assets. Now, if you guys remember, I did a whole deep dive about, quant and the tokenization of assets, and we talked specifically about the $10 trillion of assets of BlackRock, even if it was 10% brought over to the overall crypto market and so on, how huge that could be. Now, if you have something like Aladdin, which is a portfolio management software, we gave you some examples, but realizing that BlackRock is eventually going to get to the point where they want to tokenize all this, right? After everything becomes finally non-volatile, right? Again, reference what? Quant's overledger. Why? Because it's proven itself time and time again. They're going to reference, and you better believe they are fully aware of the big deals that they've done. Project Rosalind, especially, Bank of England, Bank of International Settlements. But then now this new thing, the expansion of a smart audit for Quant's overledger. That creates that much more supply and demand. And I'm looking at it from the perspective, if I'm Larry Fink of BlackRock, I'm like, wow, this just pounds it home even that much more for Quant and overledger, right? All of this, all the ties that Gilbert Verdian has, even to the current prime minister, right? From the background he's had many years ago. Again, back to the whole thing with the UK and so on. So there is all that, and we're not going to dismiss any of that as well. In closing, check this out for yourself, and this is the last clip, and it comes straight from Gilbert Verdian. Take a look at this for a second. I'm just going to load this up. This is really, really something else. I've gone ahead and chopped this up for you guys. I did it before the show, and my key thing is, yeah, it just kind of says it for itself. Here we go. Smash that like. This will close out the Q&A segment.
The difference between private equity and public equity, and remove the barriers to investors and to on the buy side and the sell side to participants. So what we see is unlocking a lot of private equity that was previously closed, and what you can do with the technology is create velocity and allow it to roam. So you're not limiting it to a jurisdiction, you're not limiting it to an exchange. You can run this and transact and buy this anywhere in the world. So we're seeing that decomposition of financial services because it's blurring the lines between all the different types of assets.
That clip speaks for itself. It rounds off everything that was presented tonight. This channel is not a monetized channel, right? It will be, okay? We're basically halfway there. If you want to help out in any way, you appreciate the content that is provided, these deep dives and so on, one way you can help out is simply by liking the show or the recorded content. But what really, really helps, if you really want to go the extra mile, is when you see a video, especially this one, when it becomes chopped up later on and is thrown into the recorded video section, by simply going there and taking the time to just even put out one sentence in reference to the material that was presented. It kicks in the YouTube algorithm and it sees that this is an active channel where there is back and forth conversations between the creator and members of the community. That is what YouTube likes to see. And they, of course, reward people with getting those recommendations out to more of a broader base. I'm trying my best to rebuild and get this platform out to more and more people, obviously, and so on. And that's all I ask. And I hope that I have earned your subscription. And if anything, we're finally going to kick it back to the comments. Thank you so much for everybody who's been here tonight for this very special quant segment. Shout out to Quant Papa. Give him a follow on X platform, formerly known as Twitter. You can be followed at quant_papa_. All right. We're going to get into the comments. After that is our JASMY segment of the night. It's not a super, super long deep dive, a little bit, but we also have some XRP after that for you. So let's jump back into the comments. 309 comments. My goodness. Please smash that like. Let's see how we're doing on the likes real quick. We are at 39 likes, so not too shabby. I did see some more people follow in. We have Maddie B, April Cornwell. Good to see you guys. We have Texas Crypto. He says, great info. Thank you so much. Really appreciate you. GF Burke is in the house. A lot of you guys who came in here, obviously. Do really, really appreciate you guys. All right, let's see what we have in regards to specific questions or comments. I know it's been a long delay, right? So, I don't know, roughly about 45 minutes. I've done longer deep dives, right? But, yeah, do appreciate you guys. All right, let's see here. Going up to the last bit of comments that we had. I'm going to see where we're at. I also want to welcome Cool Cat Crypto. All right, let's see here. Michael Montclair, glad to have you. Mr. J, welcome, welcome. All right. Just seeing where I'm at. Oh, man, there's so many good comments, which is good. All right, well, it's just a flood of comments, so it's kind of going crazy on the StreamYard thing. But I'm going to go down to this one from Jack Thompson. 3:43 p.m. I don't know, roughly half an hour, give or take. Rothschild owns all this. I believe the banks test who run the spy agencies created Bitcoin. Interesting. Very interesting. Yeah, my friend was talking about the Rothschilds own this since, oh my gosh, probably 1999. He was telling me about some of this stuff. You know, and at that time, right, I'm still like, geez, I'm 18. I'm just like, I don't know. Actually, I don't know if it was when I was 1999. Maybe it was early 2000s because he would have been a little bit younger than me. But anyway, around that range, right? Didn't take him seriously. Look more into it. Yeah, that's a real thing. So I'm glad that you pay attention to it, Mr. Jack Thompson. Glad to have you here. All right. Yes, April Cornwell with a classic. Hey, y'all. Glad to have you here, Miss April Cornwell. All right. Henry Brown states, what's the difference between investing in Bitcoin and getting married? If your marriage fails, you only lose half of your wealth. That should be plastered everywhere, right? That's funny. Jack Thompson, Goldback, Texas Tea. Remember the Alamo. Interesting. All right, let's see here. Jack giving a good compliment to Henry. Going further down. Let's see here, because I got a lot of comments I got to check. We call it update myself on, right? Catch up on. Michael Cornwell, yo. Good to have you, Michael. Boom. All right, let's see here. Henry Brown says there's so many crypto scammers these days. Send me only a quarter of a Bitcoin and I'll tell you how to avoid them forever. Yeah. All right. Max, I lost my wrench. All right. Well, I think somebody could hook you up with that, but just in case, then I'll double check the other screen. And if your comment didn't go away, I could help you. But if it did go away and you're gone, then I can't help you. That's just how it goes, unfortunately. All right, let's scroll up on the list. And I do see you. Okay, let's see here. All right. Add as moderator, standard moderator. All right, there we go. You have a wrench now. Congratulations. All right, let's see here. I'm going to go further down. All right. What do you guys got here? You guys got some good information. Crypto McDizzle says Shanghai has unveiled a comprehensive action plan designed to accelerate blockchain's tech development within the city by 2025. That's like in no time. Interesting. Let's get this crypto info. Oh, it's okay. You know, some of the guys, you guys multitask, you listen. I mean, it is what it is. There's some people that really soak it in, and there's no offense. There's other guys just like, yeah, Caroline all the way, you know, get my fat juice or something, right? And that's fine. I'm just glad that we have support. It's the way people unwind. It's the way people chat, whatever the case be. We welcome all of it, and it's good stuff, right? All right. McDizzle says these areas encompass system security, cryptographic algorithms, blockchain-specific processors, smart contracts, cross-chain, functionality, storage solutions, privacy, you name it, right? Pretty cool. All right, Cool Cat Crypto. Kava is the one to have in the Cosmos ecosystem. You know, my buddy Aaron Fox, the guy hooked me up with this studio mic, which has the little Elon Musk thing on it. Anyway, he's the one that was always talking about Kava all the time. Maybe I have to revisit Kava. Anyway, he was really big on Kava and also, excuse me, Algorand. Anyway, I gotta get back in touch with him, see how he's doing. All right, let's see here. Sounds like a bunch of words Max would say. What the heck? What happened? What did I say? Oh, this right here? I have to catch up on that. What is that supposed to mean? Anyway. It's all right. I'll take no offense. All right. Let's go further down. A few more comments. Ahmed, what is 30 million to the US military? Like nothing. Yeah, like 15 missiles. Maybe. I don't know. Corey Bebe, or actually Boomer F Sooner, 30 million is nothing to the military. Yeah, it's not. MoneyGram reveals plans to launch its stellar-based non-custodial digital wallet. I mean, I understand, you know, 30 million is nothing, but you know, if you're trying to get a grant or you're trying to start off, right? I mean, it's kind of a big deal. I don't know. Teach his own, right? But yeah, MoneyGram reveals plans to launch. I read that one earlier. My bad. All right. Michael Montclair, if I didn't have a chance to welcome you, glad to have you here, Mr. Michael Montclair. And let's see here. Corey Bebe, created in partnership with Cheesecake Labs. What a name. The wallet will serve the purpose of expanding the access of users to the digital economy. The price of Stellar is predicted to increase by 60% in Q1 2024. All right, so we're roughly around, let's just round off, 11 cents. I know, you guys are going to do it by market cap, but I mean, even on this example, right? Let me see. So that would put us up to at least, I don't know, roughly 17 cents, give or take. I mean, it's not bad. It's not life-changing, but that's okay. Cheesecake does sound good. Little known fact, if you guys don't know about it, you probably do. Maybe don't. I don't know. If you eat one slice of New York cheesecake and a Coke, right, you can't eat nothing for the rest of the day, basically, right? That goes over the 2,000 calories or whatever. I don't know. Little tidbit for you guys. All right, let's see here. Yeah, I sold my Stellar to make my XRP time to start over. All right, let's see what else you guys got. You guys have any specific questions or anything? Let me see what you got. Everyone calm down. Okay. All right. Crypto Jedi. Hey, by the way, guys, just give me a heads up. I saw Crypto Jedi. Well, I think it was like, was it 2 days ago, my friend? Something like that. Maybe it was the day before yesterday. I can't remember. Which would be 2 days ago. What am I saying? He was doing a live stream. So, you know what? Maybe you do more. Are you going to do more live streams? Anyway. Crypto Jedi said, crypto winter is upon us. Take advantage and accumulate, not financial advice. That's a good point. Gonna need to F-load more cowbell. All right. Magic Power. If you see a coin whose price is extremely manipulated, even though it has a lot of big partnerships, shows extreme further development, then you have to wake up. All right. And Revince says, I already own nothing. I just need to eat bugs and I'll be good. Because of the World Economic Forum, Klaus Schwab, you'll own nothing and you'll be happy. All right, Cash Cats, good to see you here. Boom. Glad to have you. Let me see here. JASMY and Aladdin for a whole new world. God, that would make a crazy parody, would it not? I mean, guys, come on. Can you imagine that? Somebody chopping that up. Klaus Schwab is like, I think everybody's seen the movie Aladdin at some point, right? What is he, Jafar? So instead of like Jafar, it's like, Aladdin 3. So the Return of Jafar is like, Klaus Schwab or something, or I don't know. It'd be kind of weird. All right, let's read this from Corey Bibe. He says, the Stellar Development Foundation, MoneyGram, has made strides to create equitable access to the global financial system, having become the single largest fiat on and off ramp provider offering blockchain access worldwide. Some nice sideline reporting from you guys. All right, back to Quant for a second. Crypto McDizzle states Quant will hold the value of all assets. Wake up. Why aren't people waking more up to it? I don't know. Not financial advice, but I just present what I present. So do you. And we got to do what we got to do. All right. Aladdin is the bot BlackRock uses to trade with. Yes. All right. Let's go further down. Aladdin ties to Quant. All GDP ties to Quant. Yeah, it's absolutely insane if that would be the case. I mean, that example, I'm glad you paid attention to that part, right? When you add up all the GDP, I mean, U.S. still ranks number one. There's obviously a threat of BRICS. But what about when you tokenize these assets? It's game changer. Even if we lowball it, right? We talked about this. Even if we lowball it 10%, which I think is realistic, that's big. And then it's not only just BlackRock. Like I said before, the Vanguards, the State Streets, you name it. Some big things, right? Some big things. The ghost in the machine is AI and quantum computers. Yeah, that was at the very beginning. That part about Elon Musk. Or actually, was that at the beginning? I can't remember. Maybe that was on the other part about Aladdin. I think that was, yeah. Investing in the quantum computers or AI will wake the beast, but you can own a part of the beast. And that's the thing. It's like, we know all this stuff is coming. It's going to be here sooner than we think. Some people feel like, no, it's going to be 10 years. Or it's going to be 2030. I think it's way before that. But, I mean, we stand on sidelines and not get wealthy off of it. I'm just being honest. I mean, for people at Bitcoin Max, is going to say, well, no, don't go with that. You're contributing to the devil's work or whatever the case be. Bitcoin is true freedom. Okay. This is just like another reason to get shaken out, because before, we've seen instances where, told don't get into Bitcoin. I mean, I'm just saying back in like 2013 or something like that. Don't get into Bitcoin. It's tied into Silk Road and, drug dealing, all this. And honestly, like I said, I said this, I think yesterday, we get that tunnel vision. It's like, hello, fiat, right? More tied to the drug industry for, money for hundreds or more years or whatever the case be, right? All source of crime. And then we're just all of a sudden, that goes away because, somebody said, BTC tied into, all this illegal activity and so on. It's like, give me a break. It's just another form of shaking us out. This is going to be the new thing of shaking us out. Like, let's not accumulate any of this, because it's tied into, Satan and the devil and all this stuff. Again, kind of like what Gilbert Verdian was talking about, right? CBDCs can be used for good or evil. It just depends on what hands they're in. I'm not trying to justify it, but that's just a reality, right? It is what it is. All right. I'll read this one, then we're going to kick it into the outlines from Henry Brown. He says, I want to send positive energy to everyone. I'm tired. You had a hard day. I'll have to catch up with you, man. Keen Coology. I'm not pronouncing it right. I'm sorry. I'm working to get back 100%. I'm here just listening and watching. Thanks for sharing that, Henry. And God bless you, man, for real. I do pray for people. I'll pray for you, man. I mean, that we do talk, obviously, and so on. And we want to see you continue to have a good recovery with everything you've been through, for real. You got to stick around for that generational wealth, man, all the way. So, thoughts and prayers with you for sure, man. And I'm glad that you have a platform that you can at least come and relax with your fellow crypto community of enthusiasts, right? DLT, blockchain, and so on. So, yeah. All right. Michael Santiago, I saw your comment before. You were saying that I hate Chainlink. I don't hate Chainlink. I own Chainlink. I'll just point out some things in regards to that flood campaign for Q&T, but no, I don't have nothing against Chainlink, man. I'm not about crypto tribalism. Never have been, never will be. But nonetheless, welcome, Michael Santiago. Okay, let's get into the last bit of coverage that we have, or second last bit of coverage we have. Again, it's not super long, but it is in regards to JASMY, because obviously some people always want that JASMY. We talked a lot about it yesterday, and it's okay. But let's just jump into it. Let me clear out some tabs real quick. Give me just a second because I got a lot up right now. I mean, I have a lot of memory, but yeah, no, kind of helps a little bit. And it also helps me kind of keep track of where I'm at, right? All right. That was a lot in regards to quant, right? Well, it always is, Max, when it comes to you and your quant. Well, you could also say that about JASMY too, but anyway. I don't know. I thought it was pretty good. I mean, Quant Papa brings it big, right? He definitely does. Okay. All right. I think I found it. Let's jump into it. Let's pull up some of these things for the branding and all that stuff, right? All right. Look at that. You like that? If you're new, you've never seen that. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. Okay. All right, so yeah, let's get into it. This is going to start our JASMY coverage of the night. And shout out to the one and only NeoXTrix tonight. So let's get into it. This is straight from his crypto Twitter. And it basically says this right here. And what is this all about? Well, like he says, JNA, right? JNA, which is a subsidiary of JASMY, but if anything, wow, don't dismiss it at all, right? I got more into this. So they are a Japanese software development and engineering company. And again, if you've been following our recent deep dive, especially the one that was released, I think maybe like an hour, something like that, before tonight's show, it just makes sense to research more of Mr. Morita, right? Because basically through engineering and so on. So you see how this all comes together. JNA is based in Yokohama, Japan. JNA provides a wide range of services. They include software development, software integration, technology consulting, technical support, strategic partner, of course, of JASMY. Now listen to this for a second. The two companies entered into a partnership back in 2021, but it's still solid, okay? And basically speaking, it was to commercialize innovative IoT and blockchain solutions. Now, in regards to this partnership, and I know that some of this is verbatim, but it needs to be mentioned. JNA provides JASMY with software development and integration services, as well as consulting and technical support services. I guess that was part that was already re-mentioned. Come on, Mr. NeoXTrix, that's okay. But it says JASMY, meanwhile, provides JNA with its blockchain platform and data tech. Now, here's the thing. I did take a little bit more of an extensive deep dive into this. And I found some good, solid stuff. If you hold JASMY, you're going to want to pay attention to some of the stuff. This partnership allows two companies, or the two companies, to combine their strengths, expertise for more complete, innovative solutions to their customers. Here's some specifics in regards to the collaboration. JNA developed an IoT solution for Japanese manufacturing companies. This solution uses JASMY's blockchain, because we're always talking about, well, it's one thing to have a partnership, but is it actually going to utilize the actual technology, right? Well, here's an example. Because yesterday we did give the example of the ones in regards to, we talked about Transcosmos, we talked about some other ones, right? Obviously, I'm kind of drawing a blank, but some big players, and then we even looked up the net worth of them and so on. So it's a big deal, right? But this whole thing of this co-development in regards to JASMY and JNA for data management solutions for Japanese utility companies. Now, I want that to resonate in your head for a brief moment. They have a solution that uses JASMY's data technologies to improve the efficiency and resilience of business information systems. These two companies work together to develop and commercialize IoT and blockchain solutions that improve just that, the security and efficiency, obviously, of businesses and so on. So, Max, what do you have? Great question. I have a lot more than meets the eye, right? Not try to reference Transformers, but it's good stuff. So, this was something that was mentioned 3 months ago from, I'm not going to mention the guy's name, nothing against him. But it's just his name's, anyway. D blankety blank, okay? JASMY partner, Japanians, or I probably not pronounce it right, Japanians, I can't pronounce it. AKA JNA, I'm just called JNA. It says one bit of a deep dive. It says, basically speaking, they're of course involved in AI, edge computing, and we reference all the stuff about AI and edge computing many times, done deep dives, right? But JNA is part of Japan Deep Learning Association. There's a medium piece on it. I'll get into that in a bit. But here's some of their largest firms. Siemens, Apple, Toyota, Panasonic, right? And of course, Sony. Again, all these guys talk to each other, right? And especially if you have former executives, you better believe they talk to each other a lot behind the scenes. Deep Learning Association, that JNA is basically part of, also has NVIDIA, Deloitte. We talked about Deloitte. Fujisoft, which is a Bijit client, by the way. Also, remember, Google is also a Bijit client partner. Of course, even mentions Google. So again, JNA also has that Google partnership. Bijit has a Google partnership. Bijit with JASMY. I mean, again, guys, all these guys talk to each other. And what's the main thing? Why do they all talk to each other? The whole main goal, Society 5.0, a collective group working towards one major goal, one major task. So JNA, been a member since 2020 in regards to the JDLA membership. And yeah, like he says, he doesn't think anybody's brought up in the community. Well, that's in regards to Reddit, and that's understandable. But I'm glad he did bring it up. Now, why mention this to you guys? Because it's actually a very, very big deal. It may not seem like it's a big deal on the surface. Trust me, it's a big deal. I want to share this with you. Again, later on, I'll probably chop it up. But here's the thing, right? Deep learning. This is big because I've gotten a lot of mixed emotions when I go out on a limb and I mentioned the whole thing of Google. Some people are like, oh, that's a nothing burger. Okay, look into this. We're going to play this. 2 minutes, 11 seconds. Japan's Giga School program partners with who? Google for education to bring devices to all students. Who was interviewed? Who did a deep dive in regards to Kazumasa Sato and the Giga School concept? Remember that interview that he had? Yeah, let's follow this up. And who references this? Plain as day, it comes from who? Google. When? 2 years ago. But it's there. It's there. Check this out. Let's go ahead and play this. Smash that like. 2 minutes, 11 seconds. Japan's Giga School program partners with Google for education to bring all devices, right, together, basically. Crazy stuff. Here we go.
これまで日本の学校の現場ではあまりパソコンやそして機器というものを使ってきませんでした。日本の子どもたちを勉強のために、または自分自身いろいろな調べ物をするために、そして今回オンラインの授業を受けるために使うというふうに方向転換をさせていただいたわけです。ギガ、グローバル、イノベーション、ゲートウェイ for all すべての子どもたちのためのゲートウェイを準備するという構想です。これで一人一台のパソコンまたはタブレットをしっかりと確保した上で一人一人の子どもたちの学びを進めていきたいと考えています。
Chromebook を導入してからはクラスルーム、スプレッドシート、スライド、フォームなどを活用して子ども中心の子どもがワクワクできる学びに変わっていると思います。子どもたちは共同しながらお互いにとって最適な解を見つけていくということを身をもって学べる環境になったなと思っています。
Google for Education は 共同的な学び、コスト、セキュリティなどあらゆる面で高く評価されています。ギガスクール構想が目指す教育環境に最も適しているとして、日本の約半数の自治体や教育委員会が採用を決定いたしました。今年いよいよ最新の教育環境が教育現場でも整備されて、子どもたちが一人一台 Chromebook を使い始めることになります。Google for Education を通じて主体的で対話的で深い学びというのが日本中に一気に広まっていきます。
学びたいことや興味に応じて個別最適化された学びを実現したいなと思います。評価や学年を超えるようなそんな挑戦も試みたいなと思っています。
All right, pretty cool to share that. Obviously, I have some more. Let's get into this. So the next part I want to share with you, I mean, obviously that was cool to see an actual video, and I realized they're speaking Japanese, but you have subtitles, right? If they didn't have subtitles, obviously I wouldn't play it. But there's more in regards to this. So this is reference from Facebook, believe it or not. Let's pull this up. Next go. Why am I bringing this to you? Well, it states right here. If anything, I guess I'll blow it up a little bit more. Next go talks about the future workstation. And this is back about roughly a year ago, but it says is not limited to remote work, but a hybrid of different usage scenes and environment of PCs due to the recent working style changes and Giga School concept. Yes. Why is that so big? Well, like it says, startup SME is shifting to monthly renting data as a service. If I'm reading that right. Data as a service, beginning with a selection of wide range devices and accessories that are offered as a service instead of a purchasable product. The services and devices will be sourced, supported, and managed by providers securely in any network environment, regardless of location, especially for those platforms, which is blockchain equipped. Now, you may be thinking, why put out, why even reference this? Well, for one, Giga School concept, you're also going to see where JASMY's referenced, but rentable PCs sounds crazy. But when I think about the concept of a PDL, if you have multiple people using the device, then if anything, that's even that much more utility in motion, if you think about it, right? Getting more into this, it does reference, for instance, JASMY. And I'm going to show you guys this for a second. And this actually, let me hit the back button real quick. Yep, there it is. So JASMY Global basically is the ones that originally mentioned this, right? And they posted it on Facebook. And again, it referenced the Google School concept, excuse me. Getting more into this part, talks about, for instance, Kazumasa Sato, right? March 31st, 2022. States basically speaking that, where is this? Their aim is to make this easier and more convenient to use. JASMY Secure PC that can be used with peace of mind anytime, anywhere, working remotely. Device as a service. Excuse me, I thought it was data. I was wrong on that. Device as a service, excuse me. Hereinafter referred to as DAAS, my bad, which can be used as a monthly fee by renting the PC itself at the same time as using the secure PC. So again, I mean, you can have multiple people, using these PCs. Think about it. If you have at least a couple, I mean, even just two compared to one, I'm looking at it from the perspective of that's even double the utility if you think about it being in motion. Call it what you want, right? But it goes on to also mention in regards to Giga School concept, not limited to remote work, which has spread rapidly due to COVID. The use of scene and environment of PCs are changing significantly due to recent work style reforms and the Giga School concept. So again, tying this all in. Now, if you're wondering, what about JASMY? Well, along with this, the blockchain-equipped JASMY Secure PC, which allows you to use your PC safely and securely in any network environment, regardless of location, has been highly evaluated since the service basically launched. So can we just stop the FUD with this? at the end of the day, we just confirmed once again that Google connection. It's just, you got to look more into how it's actually connected. Boom, there's another example. And I already did Giga School concept, I think at least 2 times, right? Now this is the 3rd time. Again, for the naysayers, all you got to do is just simply look more into it if you take the time to do so. Most people won't. They'll just take what's on the surface. Now, getting into this, I want to share this with you guys. If you're wondering about the whole thing in regards to JNA, back to this, right? This is from the medium of JASMY. The focus of this specific cooperation of JASMY and JNA will be on how to use JNA's AI tech and embedded device development capability to empower and upgrade the personal data locker. Isn't that the whole point, right? Utility in motion? Right, absolutely. Of course, provided by JASMY, and the new technical solutions explored based on this advanced concept will certainly be, further validate this joint R&D and commercialization trials. That sounds really cool, which is what they're looking forward to. Of course, this is the guy who's the CEO of JNA. It goes on to mention, industry authorities believe that both JNA's hardware and software development capabilities and expertise in the AI field and JASMY's core services, as well as its IoT platform services, which can safely, securely, and effectively manage IoT device data, will provide solid technical foundation for both parties to explore the bleeding edge technology solutions of just that, edge AI, in the future, along with dramatic changes to the whole darn industry. Now, why do we need to get into a little bit more about this? So, for one, they're proud about this whole thing of AI and IoT. When I look more into this, it's like this spells out everything that JASMY Chain is basically trying to do with AI and IoT. But this part, especially in the field of manufacturing, has been the hidden champion behind the label Made in Japan. It's a Japanese high-tech software system developed company. JNA has grown to become what? The industry's top name in key areas such as AI, cloud, and even IoT. That is interesting. And last but not least, maintains, as in JNA, close business relationships with many well-known Japanese global corporate customers, including Apple, Toyota, Panasonic, of course, Sony, at this point, right? And Siemens. I'm not going to call it the other one because that just doesn't sound right. Achieving full year sales of nearly 70 million in 2020. Okay, that was a while back, right? Look what's tagged here. IoT, decentralization, crypto, JASMY, and JASMY Coin. Now, that is all impressive. And if anything, if I was a person watching like you, I'd be like, all right, that sounds good. But does he really have something really, really solid? Yeah, I do. So I went right to the JNA service section of the JNA site. And I just decided to look more into this. And I thought, you know what? This is something I think people are dismissing. Why? Because sometimes you just see new partnerships and you're like, oh, okay, that's cool. When moon. It's not about when moon. It's more like, when do we see solid utility? And if anything, is it tied to the bigger players that are trying to be part of the new infrastructure? And we talked about new infrastructure, right? We did a deep dive about it, and we did that Google connection. So since the founding of JNA, they have continued to take on the challenge of accelerating the evolution of tech, such as cutting-edge technologies, AI, IoT, cloud services, you name it, right? You got all these stuff here, but this part where they talk about infrastructure, right? Pay attention to this part. They, as in JNA, provide comprehensive services covering everything from network and server design and construction to operation and maintenance at a wide range of fields, including telecommunication carriers, finance, distribution, and government offices. Now, this gets really, really good. So for one, here's a reiteration of these partnerships that we talked about. Again, shout out to NeoXTricks. Give them a follow. And you do see listed here Toyota, Nissan, Panasonic, Apple, Hitachi, Canon, you name it, right? Honda. I don't know. I mean, some people know about NEC. I used to have an NEC monitor. It was my first monitor back in the late 90s. But anyway, Sony, of course, Mitsubishi, right? All impressive. Nothing to dismiss, basically. Getting more into this, I want to take you to this right here, and this may very well take the cake. So why would I show you this? Well, this comes from markets.ft.com, basically like the data report. You do see a little bit that's mentioned in regards to their net income and what they pull in and so on. So a little bit about the company. Like it says, they are a Japanese-based company mainly engaged in the development of advanced engineering. Again, reference who? Mr. Morita. That's why we do so much of a deep dive on him, right? But in revenue, they bring in 9.12 billion. They have net income in regards to Japanese yen of 539.42 million. They're incorporated back in 1999. They employ a little over 1,300 employees. Doesn't seem like a lot, but at least a decent amount. They participate in projects in 4 fields such as software, listen to this part, infrastructure, mechatronics. The company is engaged in the provision of technology for projects in new areas such as artificial intelligence. Obviously, we mentioned that. So all this stuff is very well, worth pointing out, right? And when I went further down, I saw some of the companies, and whatnot, but institutional holders. Now, this part, I thought, okay, there's this institutional holder of Atlantis Investment Research Group. Now, this is recent, as of July 31st, 2023. Now, why point them out? Again, connecting the dots. Check this out. Going over to their site, Atlantis. Look what it says. Since its beginning, their clients' interests have always been their top priority. Lasting partnerships and so on, right? It all sounds good. But they specialize in institutionalized infrastructure. And this is something we talk about, not just about JASMY. We talk about with a lot of the stuff with ISO 222 related coins, tokens, projects, right? We just did a segment, obviously, about quant. So we're all about institutional infrastructure. It says, while Atlantis is a boutique, they have devoted significant resources to institutionalize their infrastructure. Think about this for a second. So Atlantis, you have what we talked about earlier in regards to J&A. It's something worth, again, sometimes the answers are there if you dig deeper into it. So this connection to J&A, to institutionalize their infrastructures with the systems required of an asset manager that has served global institutions such as pension funds, foundations, endowments, sovereign wealth funds, insurance companies, financial institutions, other institutions. Their teams are staffed in-house for risk management, legal compliance, equity trading, operations. I mean, this is a big deal. Marketing, investing, relations, as well as corporate functions such as finance, information tech, and human resources. But your main key takeaway should be these 2 things. Institutionalized infrastructure, because they want to team up with the systems that require such a, assets and so on. Tie it into the whole concept of IoT. You got the AI connection, obviously, with J&A, also with JASMY. So I like the idea that it literally says plain as day, institutionalized infrastructure. And we also know that JASMY has now branched out into finance democracy. So do you now understand a little bit even more than you did before of how, there's a bigger picture here, right? Big stuff. Let's pull this up. This is worth pointing out. So we talked about last summer in regards to Atlantis. Were you aware Atlantis Japan said Nippon Active Value had net assets of, listen to this, 165.8 million at June as of June 30th, while Nippon Active Value said Atlantis Japan had a net assets of roughly 80 million pounds, British pounds, as of July 31st. Interesting, right? Combine both of those. Let's pull this up for a second. And it comes out to be this. About roughly $2 million short of $300 million. So well worth over $250 million. And again, another thing tied into the whole greater scheme of things when it comes to JASMY. Say what you want, know what you have, know why you hold it. The research trumps FUD 110%. I think JNA is a bigger deal than most people think. And if anything, I'm glad to bring it to you guys once again. Please smash that like if you haven't done so already. If you're not subscribed, please, by all means, subscribe. This is the new channel. It's going to continue to be the home, not moving anywhere ever again. All right. The last bit of coverage we have is just a little brief thing in regards to Ripple's XRP, but we'll kick it back into the comments. I do appreciate you guys being here. All right. Let's see here. The last bit of comments. It says there's 18 comments. Let's see. Let's see here. You get more views than ATB these days. ATB. Why am I drawing a blank on that? Huh. Yeah, what is ATB? All right, let's see here. Let's read this real quick. You know, this is towards Tim Shane Cash. Much respect to you, fam. 2 months since chest surgery. Already doing almost 200 pounds. That's incredible, Henry. That's awesome, man. All right. BlackRock, excuse me. I almost said it like it was, you know, a wascally wabbit. BlackRock will buy every house they can. Yeah, like, you know, it's one thing to play the game of Monopoly, and like they bought up all of Marvin's Gardens, they bought up all of Park Place, and you know, Boardwalk, and you name it, right? Literally, it would be like playing a game of Monopoly where every single space you land on, you have to pay at least 30% to BlackRock. That's just the way I look at it, right? Anyway, it's like Larry Fink's favorite game, if he was asked, it's probably Monopoly, right? I don't know. I don't know if that's true or not, but if I had to put money on it. All right. Deep dive into quant, and my wife giggles. Oh, jeez. Yeah, I remember you saying that a long time ago. BlackRock can buy my house. Huh. All right. McDizzle says they can buy them. Over what's that? We're paid and be fine because it's all managed by endless money. That's a good point. Burke says that his wife just went to Los Betos Loco Burrito. I remember when I was living in Portland, Oregon. They had this place. It was called El Burrito Loco, and yeah, I was just like El Burrito Loco. You know, not understanding how Spanish is, you know, it's kind of like a little bit backwards. So I'd always say to my friend, hey, man, you want to go to the Burrito Crazy with me? He's like, what are you talking about? I'm like, El Burrito Loco, man. He's like, it's backwards, man. It's the crazy burrito. I get what you're saying. All right. What else we got? Texas Crypto says, great info. Thanks, man. I appreciate it. 719, that was a while ago. I must have missed on a bunch of comments, so I'm so sorry. All right, let's see here. Let's welcome a few more of you guys. We got Robert Brewer. What up, Max? What up, Mr. Brewer? Good to see you. And I guess I went too far up. Mohib Limited. Hi, Max. I'm all in on JASMY. You have 8 million. Cool. The scenario that scares me is that the price will not rise until the bull market in 2030. Man, there's no way that the bull market is delayed to 2030. No. I want your opinion. Can the scenario happen? That scares me. I don't see that happening. I mean, eventually, like, okay, so how about this? Look, don't base it on my own opinion, all right? I know you value my opinion. Just look, this is all I could tell you to do. It's not financial advice, but it's research advice. How about that? Do yourself a favor, okay, Muhib. Research for your cycles, basically. All right, boom cycles and so on, and then come to the conclusion that it's been consistent. Now, yes, crypto winter. This is the longest crypto winter we had on record. But come on, my friend. Extending this out to the year 2030 or 2029, no way. There's just no. We'll have a utility run long before then. let it speak for itself. Look more into it for yourself, even if not from the perspective of utility. Just look up, crypto boom cycles or 4-year cycles and so on, and then draw your own conclusion from there. Sounds like somebody's trying to shake you out, and that's probably their mission. Shoot, you might even have family that's going to try to shake you out, right? Say what you want, but sometimes it's like some people just don't want to see another other person get success, like be successful. I hate to say that, but it's true. Some people just, even our close, like some of our close family members, we think we're close, but sometimes it's just like, what's up with that? You know what I mean? Like, you don't want to root for my success. And then it's not that they don't want to root for your success. That sounds kind of contradictory. But some people just don't get it. Like some people still might label this stuff as like, scam, or, put in the same category as like multi-level marketing, which nowadays they don't even call it multi-level marketing. They had to rename it because it's got such a bad reputation. They call it network marketing. It's the saying goes, like, if it walks like a duck, quacks like a duck, whatever the other thing is, like a duck is a freaking duck, right? Yeah. Network marketing, it's just, look more into it. We covered it more than enough times. Maybe you weren't around when we did that, and that's fine. But as far as a bull market in 2030, I mean, nah, man. The way I look at it is, even with the Bitcoin halving, traditionally speaking, things, really start to turn the other direction. And, 2020 was basically the start of the bull market. All right. So I just want you to add this up for yourself, even from a 4-year cycle. 2020 was the start of the bull market. I don't remember what particular month. Maybe if Legrand is here, he probably knows, right? He's pretty good about this stuff. But even with that said, then, fast forward to where 2024 would be. I'm leaning towards, I'm pretty sure we get, Bitcoin halving, BTC halving, April. I don't know. Maybe it's not exactly a specific date in April, but I think the general consensus is everybody agrees that's going to be in April. That's big in itself. And then how about ETFs? That's another thing. Even if you didn't study the whole thing of these cycles, right? Let's say you're like, man, I got bronchitis. Ain't nobody got time for, researching cycles, right? Okay, I get it. But you got to keep in mind, this is why so many people put so much focus on ETFs, right? Because that big institutional money coming in brings in a lot of money to the overall crypto market. So that's why we always follow the whole thing of, okay, BlackRock, are they going to get approved? Is that solid? If that ends up being solid, and it will be eventually, that in itself doubles the overall crypto market just off of BlackRock alone. Now we know that there's roughly at least 19, 20 more other institutions that put in ETF filings. Again, if you don't know about this stuff, it's okay. Don't feel bad. Look more into some of these things. So even in a bear market, they come bringing this in. What does that do? That jump starts the bull market, the bull run. In their applications. The other night, yesterday night, we showed you those charts. You may not have seen it. The chart, and it basically shows on the chart these ETF filings and the deadline for like the SEC and stuff like this, right? And it was pretty consistent across the board. It was like March 15th. So even with that said, so March 15th, with all the things with the SEC and so on, you had, I think, about roughly 80% of those ETF filings. That was the deadline. March would be before the halving. So even if you only had like, I don't know, let's say, for instance, 10% of those being approved, and we just kick the can down the road even more, that in itself would bring a tremendous amount of, money, if you will, to the overall crypto market. Combine that with the Bitcoin halving, it's big. What about if you hold JASMY? All right, is there other factors? Yes, Q4 lockup. Some people say it's only going to be a little bit. I just saw the comments from, what's his name, Rombo, rumor about October 1st. I will do my best to look more into that, maybe bring you guys some of that information tomorrow. But my thing is, there's a lot of factors. Even if we're not talking about altcoins, there's a lot of factors where the overall crypto market, even off of just BTC and ETH, will still put the whole darn market on its back. right? Because it represents 81% of the overall market. Whether people still believe that or not is just a fact. It's just the way it's been for the longest time. Understand the concept that eventually when we get to utility run, things will change. Right, we're not there yet. But again, just try to remember some of these things. So all those factors, if you want to talk about altcoins, yes. Okay, so back to JASMY, potential lockup. Okay, what if there's not? Like what Boomer was talking about. Like, even if there's not, BTC halving will affect, because always does, alts like JASMY and stuff, or stuff. That's all right. Alts like JASMY and whatnot. And basically speaking, I mean, you're going to have instances where there's other factors, right? So JASMY runs a correlation with BTC, runs a correlation with ETH. We reference that on a 90-day chart, 30-day chart, 7-day chart, 1-day chart, 1-hour chart, all that, right? It's basically always runs a correlation with that. Again, perfect example of putting it on its back. Okay, so there is that. What about Japanese yen denominated stablecoins? That's supposed to go live in 2024. So there's a lot of big things, and then still the thing that has been kicked down, kick the can down the road or to the curb or whatever you want to call it. We still haven't gotten the unbanning of foreign stablecoins. Right, we got the unbanning of domesticated ones, and that's big because we know that what JASMY is going to do with the pairings for the local banks and municipalities and you name it, this whole contribution to society 5.0, right? So there's so many other factors, and that's just based off of one altcoin, right? The overall scheme of things, even if you took all the altcoins out of the mix, bear market or bull market 2030, I mean, that would be, I don't know. Some people say there won't be another bull market. Maybe that's where this confusion comes, because people stated the next bull market, you do get a utility run, maybe not necessarily right at the same time. And that's the last bull market, because then we do have regulatory clarity. This is where, crypto sets itself away from stocks because it can't be volatile. Creates that much more demand for everything. We have a dollar collapse. Let's face it, I'm not rooting for that, but you want to know something? It creates that much more demand for crypto. I know scary times are ahead, but for me, my days of having a big savings account where it's all in my savings, I'm not doing that anymore. I still keep a checking account. There's nothing wrong with keeping a checking account, but like, if we're really true about the research and protecting our assets, think about how that sounds, protecting our assets, right? Then you got to recognize what could happen. And a dollar collapse sounds incredibly sad, because a lot of people who don't know about these technologies and the things that we share on a consistent basis, man, I mean, that's like people becoming homeless or, being completely destroyed, maybe worse than the 1929 stock market crash and stuff like that. But for the other people, right, us who, we're part of, I guess you could say that the new 1%. I know it sounds crazy, but it's like the new 1%. Why do I say the new 1%? Because 99% of people, last I checked, even on the street or just work colleagues and so on, they think this is all Greek. They think we're cuckoo birds. You know what I mean? And it's just like, did you not see this work in Bitcoin? Oh, yeah, that had its time, though. They look at all this as being a fad, right? But again, what are we basing things off of? Are we going to base things off of their opinions? Did they do the research that we're doing? No, they're not. Again, guys, you're living in a time where you have access to all this information more than any other time in history. It used to be, and you guys heard before, you wanted to be somebody. This is at least how I was raised, not from my parents. They didn't necessarily believe this, but, you guys seen it. You need to go to an elite, like Ivy League school, or you need to be somebody in which you can get that information and become a businessman or something, for you can have access to that elite information. That's not the case anymore. With the internet, the World Wide Web, we all have a level playing field. Like even right now, I could go online, and I get it. This is no disrespect to your fellow mechanics, all right? I get what you're saying. But in reality, there was never a time in history where you can go and learn about, some things about how to work on an engine or all sorts of things, like how to hook up a proper IV drip, or learn some stuff from the medical stuff and whatnot. Like, all the information's out there. You don't have to just go to a library. I still go to libraries because it's nice and quiet, But my key thing for you, and I know I'm going on a tangent, and everybody, we live in a level playing field for information. If we still base off of our opinions off of the other person's opinion of somebody that's anti all this stuff, and value that opinion as the answer to, I'm going to listen to this person, I'm going to get shook out of all this for my potential generational wealth. Again, come full circle. Did they put in the research? Do they even know the definition of blockchain? Do they even know what distributed ledger technologies are? Do they even know about Hedera, which is technically not even a blockchain, right? Gossip protocol, hash graph consensus. By the way, you have a segment we're going to do tomorrow about Hedera. I could go talk your ear off on this, right? We already lost a lot of people. Anyway, 2 hours into the show, we're going to wrap things up here in a bit. But the key thing is, I said to people, I feel as though late 2025 is going to be big. I know some people don't agree with me on it. I'm looking at it from also the perspective of not dates. Ronbo, if you're watching this, nothing against you. But more or less like, mandates. I've always been consistent with it. Mandates. I think mandates gets the job done with utility and motion. It's just that, utility and motion. Partnerships are one thing. Utility and motion is another thing, right? I want to see the utility being utilized. We don't have full implementation yet, but we will. I think I could retire early, maybe late 2025, going into 2026. And then as far as that, like beyond a generational wealth, 2030, yeah, that is just more or less gravy beyond extreme at that point. That just tells me don't sell off all your assets, right? Like, but you know what? Don't take my advice. It's not financial advice, but you got to have a plan. And it just sounds like somebody is trying to scare you, which sucks. I don't like seeing that, but that's a reality. That's a reality for a lot of us. We have people in our life that will try to scare us. Or maybe you just go to a certain forum, or you go to maybe you go to social media, or you read all this stuff, and some people just don't see the same. They don't share the same opinion. All right, I really harped on that a lot. All right, let me read the last bit of comments. Let's see here. Crypto McDizzle, that video you played, it says, boom, they all dropped the dollar all at the same time, and Rome falls. Oh, you're talking about that one towards the end. I don't know what you're talking about. Yeah. All right, let's see here. I'm back. My vet buddy from the VA had to get him settled. Oh. Magic Power, Edge AI JASMY actively joined hands with, I can never pronounce that right. I just call him J in it. Yep, that's true. The brother Selmo. Good to see you, man. It was probably a while ago, but good to see you nonetheless. Selmo Flood, always a pleasure. Thank you, thank you. All right, let's see here. LCX buddies with Quant. That was another thing. I didn't mention it earlier. I meant to mention on the outline. If you go to the Quant site, they have taken LCX off of the Quant site. I hate to create FUD, but that's a reality. Even if there is no partnership, I've seen that there still is. I just think it's a little tiff between Gilbert and Monty Metzger. But if there wasn't a partnership, I still think LCX is still pretty solid. I'm not going to get shaken out of my LCX, but that's something that Quant Papa did point out. So you can go to the Quant site, no longer list LCX, but still list Simba. And that's why we also shared the whole thing about Simba tonight. All right. We have Danilo, aka Mr. Yep, I knew at some point he's gonna say, "You're." Good to see you, man. All right. Yeah, it's got too much lined up, River. I mean, you read about that, Let's see here. Virtual Citizen has something interesting he wants to share with us. I guess I'm the piece of, you know what? That's for all we know, it could be him writing that. So narcissists basically brewing other narcissists. I just continue to ignore him. But thank you so much for being a contributor to the channel. Being another person counts as a person here and so on. And yeah, I can imagine it's probably just another account or whatever. Narcissism. Gotta love it, right? Anyway. And then making demands to other people about, me taking stuff. I don't even want to give any attention to this guy at all. But you go, that's cool. Be a loyal follower of a dead channel, by all means. All right, let's see here. Yeah, thank you for that. I'm just doing my best to try to ignore it. There's toxic people everywhere we go, unfortunately. OG Crypto, I have power up this device because it's dying. Oh, okay, no problem. Glitch in the Matrix, welcome. Glad to have you. Boom. And let's see here. Let's see here. I didn't see him earlier, but anyway. All right, let's see here. Gonna probably wrap things up here in a second. Yes, goodbye and good night. All right. January 15th, 2024 is going to be big. All right. Dwight Von Stress says, I was uneducated on market cycles and missed out 2021 bull run. I never gave up and educated myself to understand cycles. My bags are full and ready to explode. That's good. That's awesome, man. Good for you. Good for you. All right. Let's see if there's anything else. I think that might be just about it. Let me see. All right. Thank you, moderators, for taking care of what you need to take care of. You know what? I actually do know who that is. That was Johan, basically, but whatever. Because I remember he had that name a long time ago. A long, long time ago. You think I don't remember stuff like that. So that's okay. If anything, I guess everybody needs a friend. So, go down with the ship. All right. You guys all have a great night. Thank you for watching the show. Please smash that like. Make sure you subscribe. And we'll chop this up later in regards to QNT and JASMY. Tomorrow we'll talk about Hedera. And we're also going to talk about XRP. And, right now we still have about 21 people here, but we'll also talk about the whole thing about 59,472 XRP, which was posted originally from Forbes, right? So we'll get into that tomorrow as well. So I am going to head out before this place closes. But yeah, thank you again to everybody, and definitely appreciate you. In closing, I forgot. I want to state that we are now halfway towards monetization. So I did get the memo about doing paid memberships or whatever. Was able to apply for it. So we did hit 3,000 watch hours. So yeah, thank you to everybody. All right. Congratulations to this channel. Was able to do it in record time, which is really cool. And basically speaking, I mean, that was great. Absolutely great. It's not available yet. It's in a review process. So as soon as it's available, I'll let you guys know. Just off the, from the get-go, I don't know how I'm going to go about, providing I guess you could say a sense of value for that yet, but we'll get there. But at least it'll be a cool thing. So basically, yeah, about another 1,000 watch hours and be full monetization. Once we get to that point, of course, you'll be able to do super chats. You'll be able to we'll have ads, I guess you could say. Maybe people don't like that, but in reality, I mean, it does help. AdSense on recorded videos. We won't do it on the live because I know people don't like that. So that's what's up. And thank you so much for sticking by. I won't keep you any more further. Tomorrow, yeah, Hedera, XRP, some of those other things. It's a little bit of JASMY and whatnot. One last announcement. Friday, there will not be a Twitter space. And the reason for it is I had to clear out my schedule for the returning back of my father. He's been discharged. He comes home on Friday, and he's 89 years old. I had to be a little bit more patient, so I don't want to be really, to the point where like I'm rushed to get to like a Twitter space and stuff like that. So it's gonna be too much conflict. I gotta clear up my schedule for Friday. All right, so that's it. Thank you for tuning in, and Will Fix says, have a good night. It's 11/3/22. Yeah, everybody can hit the sack. Yeah, thank you. I know some a little late for some of you guys and so on here on the Western Pacific Standard Time, 8:24. So have a great one. Again, shout out to Quant Papa for the deep dive research and so on. You guys all have a great night. We will see you back here tomorrow, roughly around 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific. Sayonara from the Race Corrupt Consortium. Let's go. All right. Bye-bye.
Blockchain is spurring a revolution in the way we create, record, and trade value. Its benefits, security, transparency, efficiency, can be applied to areas as diverse as payments, capital markets, and supply chains. That's why assets of all kinds are being tokenized on blockchains, making their ownership immutable, their provenance traceable, and their use manageable. The potential is enormous, but every blockchain is complex and creates a different walled garden of connections and functionality. Today, the decentralized world of blockchain is made up of closed environments, limiting liquidity and leading to increased risk and lost opportunity. Every digital asset must be created specifically for each chain, demanding dedicated developer skills, which are hard to find, time-consuming to master, and expensive to develop. Overledger Platform from Quant establishes a new benchmark for blockchain interoperability and ease of use. As a low-code enterprise-grade platform, Overledger empowers you to deploy, connect, and develop on any blockchain quickly and simply. With Overledger, you can generate an interoperable digital asset with just a few clicks, create secure smart contracts that can execute on any blockchain without having to hire a team of experts. And you can use its advanced APIs to integrate with your systems and manage your assets on multiple chains. We believe that the blockchain economy should be simple, trusted, and future-proof. These are our principles and the genesis of Overledger Platform, the enterprise standard for building on blockchain.